Aging is a journey we all experience differently. Some days, it feels empowering to live alone, independent, with time for your own thoughts, and the ability to structure your days just how you like. But other times, especially as we grow older, living alone can slowly chip away at our mental health without us even realizing it. This gradual shift is something many people on various platforms and forums talk about openly. They share their stories, their concerns, and their triumphs. If you're noticing changes in how you feel and wonder if your mental health is getting worse, you're not alone. Sometimes it's easy to miss the subtle signs until things feel overwhelming. Let's dive into a few signs many people have noticed themselves and the ways you can catch these signals early on. Number 1. Increasing social withdrawal when the world feels like too much. Have you ever woken up and thought, "I'll just stay in today," only to realize you've been saying that for weeks? Maybe at first it feels like you just need some alone time, and that's perfectly okay. But then, without warning, the days stretch into months, and the idea of calling a friend or even running an errand feels like climbing a mountain. People often share how loneliness crept into their lives slowly. As one gentleman put it, "I didn't realize I was isolating myself until I couldn't even imagine answering the phone anymore. It's like I lost touch with how to connect." This kind of withdrawal is a major red flag. It can feel safe to isolate yourself, especially if you're living alone, but over time, it makes it harder to break out of that cocoon. Start small. Reaching out to just one person, even if it's online, can help. Consider joining a community group or hobby class in your area. Others have found solace in forums where people talk about their experiences. Sometimes, just knowing someone else feels the same can be a lifeline. 2. Changes in sleep patterns. Night feels like an endless tunnel. Sleep is a powerful indicator of how we're doing mentally. If you've started noticing you're staying up later and later or struggling to get out of bed in the morning, pay attention. Some older adults report feeling trapped in cycles of insomnia where their mind races at night. "I'd stay awake, worrying about things that didn't even make sense," one man shared. On the flip side, others talk about sleeping too much, using sleep as a way to avoid the day. It's easy to see why sleep would become either an escape or something elusive when your mental health takes a downturn. To combat this, try setting a routine, even if it feels hard at first. Limiting screen time before bed and creating a calming bedtime routine can make a huge difference. And remember, it's okay to talk to a doctor if your sleep is really suffering. There's no shame in needing a little help. 3. Loss of interest in hobbies or activities. The things you once loved feel pointless. One of the more subtle but heartbreaking signs is when you lose interest in the things you used to love. Maybe you used to love knitting, painting, or gardening, but now you can't even bring yourself to pick up the yarn or pull out the brushes. As one person wrote on a forum, "I knew something was wrong when even my plants started dying because I couldn't be bothered to water them." This lack of motivation can feel crushing because the things that once brought joy now feel like chores. Try to take baby steps. Start by spending just 5 minutes on something you once enjoyed, even if it's hard. Sometimes rediscovering joy comes slowly, but with gentle persistence it does return. And don't beat yourself up if it takes time. That's perfectly normal. 4. Negative self-talk, when your inner voice becomes your worst critic. The voice inside our head can be our biggest ally or harshest critic. When your mental health starts slipping, it's common for that inner voice to become increasingly negative. "I'd find myself thinking, 'What's the point of even trying anymore?' one woman shared. The internal dialogue becomes harsher, and you start believing things about yourself that you'd never say to someone else. If this sounds familiar, the first step is recognizing that those thoughts are not facts. They're symptoms. Reframing that internal dialogue, while hard, can be transformative. Try to catch those negative thoughts when they come and gently challenge them. If you find it too difficult to manage on your own, cognitive behavioral therapy has helped many people shift their thinking patterns. 5. Physical symptoms. When your body feels as tired as your mind. Mental health doesn't just affect your thoughts and emotions. It can have a profound impact on your body too. Many people living alone have shared stories of chronic pain, tension, or fatigue that they didn't realize were linked to their mental health. I kept getting these headaches and thought it was something physical, but my doctor told me it could be stress or anxiety. One gentleman mentioned in a forum discussion about aging and loneliness. The connection between mental and physical health is real. If you've noticed unexplained aches, digestive issues, or a general sense of lethargy that seems to hang around, it might be worth considering if your mental health is playing a role. Incorporating light physical activity, whether it's stretching, walking, or yoga, can help ease the tension. Our bodies often hold onto emotions in ways we don't even realize. 6. Feeling overwhelmed by simple tasks. Everyday chores start to feel impossible. It's not just big things that start to feel overwhelming when your mental health is taking a hit. Simple tasks like doing the dishes, paying bills, or even making the bed can start to feel impossible. One older adult shared, "I couldn't even bring myself to take the trash out. It was like I was paralyzed by everything piling up." If you're in this space, break tasks down into tiny, manageable pieces. Instead of cleaning the whole kitchen, start by washing just a few dishes. Don't pressure yourself to do everything at once. You might find that tackling just one small thing gives you the energy to do more, but even if it doesn't, that's okay too. Progress is progress, no matter how small. 7. Increased irritability or emotional sensitivity. Little things set you off. Have you noticed you're more irritable or overly sensitive to things that wouldn't have bothered you before? Maybe a simple comment from a friend feels like an attack, or the smallest inconvenience sends you spiraling. This emotional sensitivity can be a sign that your mental health needs attention. Someone on a forum once shared, "I snapped at my neighbor for something trivial, and that's when I realized I wasn't handling things well." Recognizing this irritability is important because it can impact your relationships and overall well-being. Try practicing mindfulness techniques to help ground yourself when emotions start to feel overwhelming. Deep breathing exercises or taking a short walk can help you reset when you feel yourself getting upset. 8. Memory lapses and difficulty concentrating. Your thoughts feel foggy. Many older adults who live alone mention experiencing memory lapses or difficulty concentrating, particularly when their mental health starts to decline. Simple things like remembering a friend's birthday or where you put your keys can start to slip. One woman once shared, "I'd start cooking and completely forget what I was doing halfway through. It wasn't like me at all." This mental fog can feel disorienting, especially when you're used to being sharp and independent. These lapses don't necessarily mean something severe like dementia, but they can be a sign of stress, anxiety, or depression. If you find that you're struggling to focus or you're easily distracted, it may be time to take stock of your mental health. Simple techniques like writing lists or setting reminders can help you stay on top of things, and practicing mindfulness can sharpen your focus over time. 9. Changes in appetite. Eating too much or not enough. Food is closely tied to how we feel, and when your mental health is suffering, your appetite can often be the first thing to change. Some people notice they're eating less, losing interest in meals, and skipping them altogether without even realizing it. "I just didn't feel hungry anymore," one person commented in an online video about coping with loneliness. On the other hand, others find comfort in food, using it to fill an emotional void. Binge eating or constantly snacking can become a way to deal with feelings of sadness, boredom, or anxiety. If you've noticed changes in your eating habits, whether you're eating too little or too much, it's worth reflecting on how your emotions might be influencing your relationship with food. Start by paying attention to what triggers these behaviors. Do you skip meals when you're feeling particularly down? Do you find yourself reaching for snacks out of boredom or loneliness? Awareness is the first step toward getting back on track. 10. Unexplained feelings of hopelessness or futility. Life feels gray. It's not uncommon for older adults living alone to start feeling like life has lost its spark. This feeling of hopelessness often creeps in unnoticed. One woman in a forum for senior mental health shared, "It's like a gray cloud that hangs over everything, even when there's no reason to feel that way." This sense of futility can come from a mix of factors: retirement, changes in physical health, or a shrinking social circle, but it's often a symptom of depression or anxiety. It's important to acknowledge these feelings rather than brushing them aside. Recognize that feeling hopeless is a sign that your mental health needs attention. Reach out to someone, a family member, a friend, or a professional, and let them know what's going on. Many people find relief through therapy or support groups where they can talk openly about these emotions. And remember, hope is never lost. It may just need a little help to resurface. The most important thing to remember is that you are not alone, and there is help available. Living alone as an older adult can be both empowering and challenging, but when mental health starts to decline, it's crucial to reach out. Whether it's talking to a friend, finding an online support group, or seeking professional counseling, there are so many avenues for support. People from all walks of life share these struggles, but they also share their stories of hope and healing. If this sounds familiar, take heart. Change is possible. You deserve to feel peace and joy again, and recognizing the signs is the first step toward healing. Feel free to leave your own thoughts and experiences in the comments section. If you found the video helpful, be sure to like and subscribe to not miss any of our future videos.